NWDA is fighting at the federal level. But as we've already discussed today in reference to federal employees, Congress is not very worker-friendly these days.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I'd like to just chip in with updates here and there from different industries as we get them. I did get some updates from the Domestic Workers Alliance. And of course, we know that domestic workers have long played an important role in our society and have long been among the most exploited workers in the country. Domestic workers are disproportionately women of color, often immigrants. A recent survey of Spanish-speaking domestic workers shed some light on their current conditions. 70% of those surveyed said they wanted to work more hours. 40% of respondents faced housing insecurity, and nearly 80% experienced food insecurity in the fourth quarter of 2022. So things are really tough for domestic workers in this country. But we do have some good news out of the National Domestic Workers Alliance to pass along. And it's always nice, as a labor show, to get a little bit of good news, considering the daunting odds we face day in and day out in this challenge. So, quote, on December 20th, Washington, D.C. officially became the 13th city or state in the country to pass a Domestic Workers Bill of Rights. This is huge for the domestic worker movement in D.C. and across the country. Over 4 years ago, in 2018, domestic workers in the newly formed D.C. chapter of NDWA began organizing to end the exclusion of domestic workers from D.C.'s Human Rights Act, the only group of workers to be excluded from this right in D.C. The D.C. Domestic Workers Bill of Rights passed the D.C. Council unanimously. The bill finally includes domestic workers in D.C.'s human rights protections, which guaranteed protections against discrimination at work. It also includes domestic workers in D.C.'s occupational health and safety law. It will create the new right for domestic workers who work in D.C. to have a written contract with their employers, and it will create a domestic worker outreach and education program to give community-based organizations money to help domestic workers know their rights and enforce their rights. This bill is an unprecedented recognition in D.C. of the value and dignity of work that domestic workers do. So, wanted to pass along that statement from the NWDA. Love to see some good news. Glad to see this. I hope there are many more victories like this in the future. I know that NWDA is fighting for a national domestic worker Bill of Rights at the federal level. They won a historic congressional hearing this past year. They're pushing hard to pass it at the federal level, but as we've already discussed today in reference to federal employees, Congress is not very worker-friendly these days, if they ever were. So wins like this at the local and state level are really important. They're small but positive steps in the right direction. So love and solidarity to our brothers and sisters working in the domestic work industry, and to the National Domestic Workers Alliance. Good work.
Absolutely. That's great news. Love to get great news. And even if the horizon is hopefully going to be better than the good news, but better to see things improve than to stay the same or get worse. That's for sure. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.